Hey, welcome in. Well, what I find shocking about a lot of these stories that I cover is that they're not shocking. They should be. But now they're expected. This is normal now. This is what the media has become. They've become the ends justify the means activists. That's it. Here's the headline. I want a full retraction. Candace Owens posts fierce response video to media smears over her Australia commentary. Outlets like The Guardian and The Sun ran with headlines that took Owens' commentary from her show Candace out of context in order to make it seem as if she called for the United States to invade Australia. Now, just right on its face, that's obviously ridiculous. Do you think the journalists at The Guardian don't know that? It's either incompetence or malice. I'll let you guess which. Anyway, she noted in her monologue that she was being facetious, underscoring her anti-interventionist beliefs, but also decrying the dire conditions Australians are facing relative to other places the U.S. has deployed troops to, namely Afghanistan. And she's, of course, talking about the extreme lockdown measures and the authoritarianism deployed against the Australian people, and the complete intolerance towards any kind of protest. But if you're looking for an excuse to shoot puppies, well, Australia is your place. But in any case, she's clearly joking about the U.S. invading Australia, obviously. But let's take a look at the headline. And this is The Guardian. And what do they say? They say right-wing pundit Candace Owens suggests U.S. invade Australia to free an oppressed people. The high-profile conservative commentator described Australia as a tyrannical police state during an episode of her self-titled TV show. So, tyrannical police state. Yeah, checks out. Let's see. Outspoken conservative political commentator Candace Owens has suggested the U.S. military invade Australia. They're expecting you to believe this, okay? Suggested the U.S. military invade Australia in order to free its people suffering under a totalitarian regime, while drawing comparisons to Hitler, Stalin, and the Taliban. Owens made the comments on her self-titled dailywire TV show earlier this week, declaring COVID-19 had propelled the planet into an ideological and psychological global war.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset.
Again, checks out. You know what they don't mention anywhere in this article? You know what they don't mention anywhere in it? They don't mention this quote from Candace Owens. To pretend that I was not joking when I quite literally said, I say that in jest.
Australia currently, make no mistake, is a tyrannical police state. Its citizens are quite literally being imprisoned against their will. So when do we deploy? Of course, I ask that in jest because we all know the real answer.
They don't mention that in here. They just, if you had no idea what the hell was happening and you just read this, you would think that she was literally calling for the invasion of Australia. Now, if you want to believe that the person who wrote this doesn't know that, go ahead. I mean, maybe this person is that incompetent. It's possible. And as for this drawing comparisons to Hitler, Stalin, and the Taliban, well, they do actually, way down the article, quote her on that. We are watching a replay of the early ambitions of Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, Fidel Castro, and Hugo Chavez. A replay of the early ambitions. Well, if she's talking about authoritarianism, she might have a point there, right? But I guess it is, beyond the pale to talk about these people. I mean, oops. Here's the headline. Psychiatrists to CNN Stelter. Trump may be responsible for many more million deaths than Hitler, Stalin, and Mao. Yeah, that didn't happen. So, and of course, there were many, many times that Trump was considered to the worst monsters of history. Did they compare him to Vlad the Impaler? I'm not sure. Probably at some point. But anyway, I think that Candace Owens has a point here. Quote, the UK has very strong libel laws, and you can't just lie like that. And I want a full retraction. The Sun, these are both British papers, ran a similarly misleading headline. Quote, Firebrand host Candace Owens calls on U.S. to invade Australia to free people from tyrannical COVID lockdown. Anyway, let's end it off with this. Quote, it's an information war. This is from Candace Owens. They are lying to you about what is happening everywhere. Well, I just showed you one blatant lie right there. But there's too many to mention. I mean, how about the Joe Rogan is taking horse dewormer? Or just how about anything that runs counter to the media narrative is that was Putin's fault. Oh, he also hid your TV remote as well, just so you know. They are lying to you about your own body, right? You don't even trust your own body anymore. People are afraid when anyone sneezes because the government has launched a war, a propaganda war, a psychological war against its own people because fear gives them more power. That's the truth. Yeah, and there's a reason for that old news saying, if it bleeds, it leads. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. See you next time.